Road Rants, Episode 4. I'm talking about all the bitching that you do, that I have to listen to, about how many people just don't show. The reason that you're resorting to tactics and trickery, those quotas that you're pushing right now, are killing your practice insidiously. You don't want them booked if they're not cooked. I know how and when not to book the appointment, and I do it just as often as I book the appointment. This person will be a great quality patient, but they won't be if I close them right now. My recommendation to them is going to be not to come see me right now. Some people require more than one 5-minute conversation to get it. Stop booking so many appointments at your screenings. A person who doesn't need you today may very well need you tomorrow. This is the reason you feel degraded at a screening, because you are violating this principle.
Welcome to Road Rants. I'm Frank Sardella, and I'm your host of this show, where I get on my soapbox and rant about stuff that's going to help you expand into your community and expand your profession. Join me now.
All right, welcome to Road Rants, folks. I told you don't get me started, but you went ahead and got me started on yet another subject, and I'm here to tell you all about it. I'm here to clear the air and vent, because this is a big one. Today's episode is entitled When Booking a New Patient is the Wrong Thing to Do, and I have not been more serious about a point on Road Rants here than I am today. This is something that is the most important thing you could possibly learn in your entire career as a practice owner, and that your staff should learn right now. This point I'm going to make today is the point that you need to get through that thick skull of yours so that you will understand why right now, unbeknownst to you, something you're very oblivious of, and that's all those closes you're pushing to make. That's those quotas that you're pushing right now are killing your practice insidiously. It's an internal bleeding that needs to be stopped lest you go out of practice. And this is the point I want to make today in my road rant, because your volume booking at screenings is killing your practice. It is right now. You're doing something that you don't even realize, and that is repelling people and killing your chances of them ever coming in. Am I talking about the people who arrive for their appointments? No. I'm talking about those no-shows that piss you off so much. I'm talking about all the bitching that you do, that I have to listen to about how many people just don't show. I'm talking about the reason that you're resorting to tactics and trickery and offers. I'm talking about that deposit that you've stooped to collecting at the screenings, the thing that's making you muscle people into coming in. You are never going to build a volume practice on those types of practices. That is not the key to building this thing. Now, I know you get impatient. I get impatient too, but your impatience is no excuse to start repelling people in your community by booking people who are not yet ready. You don't want them booked if they're not cooked, is my point to you today. And that's what I want you to get through that thick noggin of yours before the end of today's road rant. You need to take a look at this, a good clean look, especially if you're charging deposits for those appointments right now. If you're charging fees to get people in, if you're making special offers to get people in, if you're doing whatever you can to convince somebody, talk them into it, run weird scripts on them, whatever it is, if you're pushing your volume, if you walk away from a screening all proud because you booked 40 appointments today, you better be ready for not only a wave of no-shows, but a secret amount of people that are below your radar in the community who will secretly never, ever want to come see you. I always said a person who books an appointment and no-shows is better than someone who didn't book an appointment at all. You've probably heard me say that before. It does have a little bit of truth, but what I realized is it's more untrue than true. Yes, I'm eating crow here on Road Rants. Because my skill, the reason I'm so good today at getting new people to show up in a practice, the reason I can book so many of those appointments is because I know not when to book somebody, not how to book somebody, but I know how and when not to book the appointment, and I do it just as often as I book the appointment. Listen, I used to be a volume screener. I built my entire reputation as a champion screener. I built my entire reputation on the amount of appointments I could book. People would hire me to do screenings just on the fact of the volume of appointments I could get done. Docs would talk to other docs and tell them how great I did. And I would get so many docs sending me out, and I would book like a champ. Now, I did a good quality job, don't get me wrong. I wasn't getting a majority of no-shows. But I do know some really great screeners who can book circles around me in numbers, but who are getting as little as 0 arrivals in the office. And I know that frustrates you to no end. I know it frustrates you when you do it, but I know it frustrates you even more when someone else goes out to the screening and does it. And your instinct is to be angry. Well, I'll tell you what. Don't get angry at me if I do that for you, because I guarantee you the people I book are going to show, most likely. Now, we all have those people that you did the best quality job on, that you're absolutely positive you didn't strong-arm them into the appointment and they do no show. Yes, that does happen every now and again. But the way to handle it is not to get better closing techniques or to start charging deposits or forcing people to come in or arguing them into it or debating with them or telling them how wrong they are or telling you're a doctor and your time is valuable and they're taking time in your schedule. This is not a way to build a practice. We have a purpose here, and that purpose is to get people well. But you have to realize that that's your purpose and it may not be that person's purpose. And to convince them otherwise may take some time. It may take multiple contacts. It's not going to take you 5 minutes in most cases. And those are the times you have to realize this person, yes, will be a great quality patient, but they won't be if I close them right now. My recommendation to them is going to be not to come see me right now. Now, I have a lot of other advice I can give you, and I cover this in great detail in my coaching modules on how exactly I would handle someone like that to get them to eventually come in. Yes, it takes an incredible amount of patience and persistence, and it takes a willingness to do something very special, keep the conversation going. I am a partner with a company called Constant Contact. I don't want you to even necessarily be interested in that, other than the fact of the name of the company is Constant Contact. It actually says what the answer is. What does that say to you? It says some people require more than 1 5-minute conversation to get it. Constant contact means constantly contacting a person, keeping the conversation alive, keeping it going. Don't you get it? Think about it. It's common sense. Stop. I can't believe I'm saying this. After all these years, as of this taping, 22 years I've been doing this, and I cannot believe these words are coming out of my mouth. But stop booking so many appointments at your screenings. You're killing your practice secretly. I need you to realize that. Now, there is an actual sequence of mindsets people go through that I actually discovered. It took me years and thousands of screenings on thousands of people for me to figure out what all these states of mind are and then put them in order, because they actually go in a sequence. And it hit me like a ton of bricks one day, and I sat down and I figured out this entire thing. It's called the Lifetime Patient Ladder. Should you study it? Absolutely. You should go on my website, screeningexperts.com. You should read all about it, and then you should email me or give me a call, and you should hit me up and say, me and my staff need to know this. That's what you should be doing. But there is a sequence of mindsets people go in, and guess what? There's an exact state of mind a person needs to be in to book that appointment with you, but to do 3 things beyond that. And a lot of screeners think that their purpose is to book appointments, and that's not true. I discovered something else. You want 3 things out of people who book appointments. You want them to arrive. That's an obvious one. And that's why you get frustrated, because you end it there. You say, well, I want to book appointments who arrive. And then you get frustrated because you're like, well, I don't know how to make that happen, so I'm going to charge them deposits and I'm going to start doing weird things. You want them to do 3 things when they book that appointment. And everything you do in your screening should be geared toward those 3 things. And that's where my true screening process comes in, because it addresses 3 things. You want to book an appointment and you want that person to do 3 things. Arrive for their appointment, know why they're there, and be interested in something they're about to find out about themselves. And if you can affect that in 5 minutes, book that freaking appointment now. Take it. Say thank you. But if you can't achieve that in 5 minutes and convince yourself of it 100%, you better not even suggest that the person comes to see you. You better outright tell them not to come see you, because if you book them at that point, you will ruin your chances of ever getting them as a patient. You see, not only will they no-show, but you will have ruined your chance of ever getting that person as a patient. And guess what? If you had done otherwise, you may very well have gotten them as a patient. If just on this premise alone, I had a meme that I created one day that I circulated out there. I have these ideas when I wake up in the morning. Oftentimes I make memes out of them, and I put them out there. And it went something like this. A person who doesn't need you today may very well need you tomorrow. Okay? So what I want you to do, the way to apply that, is to look at it this way. Take an honest look at this person, even if they have a symptom or 2. Really assess if they're ready to not only make that appointment, but actually show up for it, to actually desire what that appointment is going to be about, and to really know what that appointment is all about correctly. Really assess that and be honest with yourself. If you haven't achieved that with that person, they are not ready to see you today. They don't feel they need you today. You can feel they need you all you want, but if they don't see it, no connection has been made. And I guarantee you a no-show at that point. I guarantee you that's a person you shouldn't book. But rather, think about it. If you take the time to assess that honestly and then give them your honest opinion that they shouldn't come see you right now, guess who they're going to think of when they finally realize they need somebody? If only the fact that they don't realize they need somebody, but something happens to them where they realize they need somebody. In other words, the person has the same condition 6 months from now and they're not any closer to realizing it. But 7 months from now, they have a bad slip or fall or car accident. And now they're in pain and now they have a condition they want to do something about, and guess who they're going to think of? The person who did not strong-arm them into making that appointment. The person who didn't try to force them to come in. The person who really understood that they are not ready to come in. The person who recommended that they don't come in. The person that took the time to really understand their point of view. And that's you, my friends. That's you. You want to stop getting pissed off about no-shows. Stop setting yourself up for them. Take some responsibility here, people. Realize that you are creating those no-shows in your office by strong-arming those appointments. By using clever scripting. By becoming a, quote, volume closer at a screening. By charging deposits. By saying your time is valuable and insisting to the person at the end of the close that this is a doctor's appointment and implying that they're wasting your time if they blow it off. You just made a person more likely to blow it off. You made a person more likely to say no. Now, do I have ways of changing that at a screening in 5 minutes? Yes, I do. I don't want you to get the idea that it's all hopeless and you have to start booking non-appointments a lot more than you're booking appointments. You can get better at this. I myself have gotten better at it. I used to be the top volume booker out there. Okay, I always boast that I'm the best at screenings. I boasted it in yesteryear, let's say a decade ago, when I was the top numbers guy. And I'm boasting it now when I'm not the top numbers guy. Because I evolved with it and I learned what quality really means. And guess what happened? When I started concentrating on quality, over time the quantity came. Now, I'm not back up to those high levels I was before because I was booking absolutely everybody. And you'll hear my example in many of my other podcasts about doing a screening at Whole Foods one day and meeting a relatively well-to-do family, a husband, a wife, and his daughter, screening the three of them, doing a brilliant job, booking 3 appointments for all 3 of them. And I think we were charging $40 deposits that day, collecting $120 in cash. And that family blew off their appointment, and we never heard from them again. Could you imagine throwing $120 away? Who would expect that? As a matter of fact, that day that I collected, that morning when I met with the client, Doc said to me, "Hey, do you think $25 for the deposit is too little I'm charging? I'm thinking of upping it to $40. You know what I said to the doctor? I don't care how much you want to collect. You want to collect 100? Let me know. I'll collect that. I'll close just as many. It's up to you what you want to do. What I should have done is warned him that we're using the wrong process. But at that point, I was still a little naive myself. I admit that. You got to eat a little crow once in a while. But I want you to eat some crow with me. Sit down at the dinner table and eat a little crow right now and admit that you have been strong-arming people and ruining your chances and secretly killing your practice. You want to know what's hampering your numbers right now? Stop looking elsewhere for the answer and introvert a little bit about what you're doing to cause it. That's what I want you to realize out of today's episode. I want you to take away from today the reasons that when booking a new patient is the wrong thing to do. Get that through your skull and you will start winning a lot more. Now, if you want help with this, I have a lot of resources that can help you. I have a lot of things that will help you keep that conversation going, but I have a lot of ways for you to make a lot more appointments that are most likely to show up, or a lot more likely than they are now, without collecting deposits, without making offers, without being sales pitchy, but just being the doctor. You want to know why you feel degraded at screenings? This is the reason you feel degraded at being out there. Why you say, oh, other doctors don't have to sit out there at a table and be embarrassed and whatever. This is the reason you feel degraded at a screening, because you are violating this principle. If you can learn not when to book people, not how to close people, but when not to close them, when not to book them, you're going to stop feeling degraded about doing screenings, and that's what I want for you. Please keep listening to Road Rants. I want you to get as pissed off and as fired up as I am about these things. And for God's sake, when booking a new patient is the wrong thing to do, realize it and don't do it, and you'll start winning. I'll see you in the next episode.
Hey, if you like this road rant, hit me up at frank@screeningexperts.com and give me some feedback, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Road Rants is a Sardella creative production. Copyright brought to you by Screening Experts, LLC. Musical score written and produced by Frank Sardella, ASCAP. Screening Experts, unscripted simplicity. For more information, visit